Hey, welcome to the channel. This is episode 2 of the Noble Credit Podcast. We're going to be talking about how to play the game in the Navy. Today, I have a fellow petty officer, CTN1 Cross, here with me. And what we're going to do is, well, I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi, I'm CTN1 Cross. I'm CTN1 Cross, friends with Ty here, and we're going to talk about how to play the Navy game. If you want to do it, how to do it. If not, that's fine too.
Right. So, we're going to basically use a Sailor of the Year, Sailor of the Quarter package checklist in order to guide you on how to play the game. And we're going to explain what we mean by play the game, but a little bit about me. I'll give you a short backstory of my experience within the military. So, I joined the military 6 years ago. I am a first class now. I have had 2 tours, one in Hawaii, one in Florida. Uh, Now I'm about to transfer very soon, and I've learned a few things during my career, during my time in, that I feel like I can pass on to a younger sailor, mentor another sailor. That's one of the goals of this podcast. The goal of this podcast for me is to provide that leadership and guidance and mentorship to younger sailors or older sailors as well, because everyone could use mentorship, and I think Cross would agree with that.
Absolutely.
So I've been in for 6 years, and I'm a CTN, so I'm a cryptologic technician networks, which basically just means my current job. I work in offensive cyber operations. Okay, so a top secret job, but I've had experience in the Navy and can give you guidance as to how to achieve what you want out of your career. Because at the end of the day, you control how your career goes, not your chief, not your LPO, you do. And we're just going to give you some tips that I kind of wish that I'd known when I was a junior sailor. Cross, you want to give a bit of a background of where you're from, how'd you get in the military, and why you are qualified to give junior sailors advice on how to play the game.
Sure. Yeah, thank you, Ty. Yeah, so I'm also CTN1, like Ty here. I'm from Tacoma, Washington, joined 6 years ago, also an E6. And really, the reason I have any kind of credit to speak to this and to try and mentor younger sailors is that I had some great mentorship myself. I was given these tools early on in my career, and I've met plenty of sailors since then who just did not know how to play the game. I was in 2019. I was the junior sailor of the year for my command, and the runner-up for the sailor of the fleet, 10th fleet. In 2020, I was sailor of the year for my command, junior sailor, and junior sailor of the fleet for 10th fleet. Won a lot of quarters, got all those awards, right? But it's kind of a question, right? Like, some sailors don't want to do this, and that's fine. That's totally their deal, and we're not speaking to them. We're speaking to the people that want to learn how to advance or to develop their careers for better professional development, right? There's just a series of wickets, and as Ty said, we want to use this of the year as just the standard, as one form of how you can do what you need to do to succeed.
I agree with that. So we'll define playing the game, and a simple definition that I have is optimizing your optimizing your career, not necessarily stepping on anyone's toes or playing a political game, but optimizing your career by doing the things that are going to get you ahead without stepping on toes, being grimy, being deceitful. Do the things necessary that are going to get you ahead. And one of the things that Cross mentioned in his opening bio is the awards he's won: the Sailor of the Year, Sailor of the Quarters. If you don't know what those are just competitions that he goes up in front of a board, in front of a bunch of command leadership or Navy leadership, and he answers questions and kind of gives them an idea why he deserves to be Sailor of the Quarter or Sailor of the Year. So, playing the game, it doesn't mean you are like doing something bad. It means you care about your career and the outcomes that happen as a result of the decisions that you make. So that's all we're talking about with playing the game. And
Can I add to
go ahead, Cross.
another part of that too is just taking responsibility, right? It's easy to kind of stay in the sidelines and let other people lead things, but you'll see more as we go through these individual items that it's about responsibility, leadership, you making decisions, you kind of putting yourself out there in front of people to say, I'm taking responsibility for this part of whatever your unit, your command, maybe the Navy overall, right? I mean, we're both
Yeah.
we both podcast on Navy concepts, and so we're kind of putting ourselves out there to do that same thing, right? So it's
And that's kind of one of the reasons why, like in my first episode of the podcast, I talk a lot about leadership, and where I want to instill that responsibility to actually be a leader. So, like, that's one of the purposes I have for this podcast. Telling younger sailors it is okay to want to be in that position. What's not okay is to sit in the sideline and just sit back and watch things unfold and then complain about it. I said in the previous podcast episode, become the leader that you wish the leaders that you complain about are. Word, excuse me. Become that leader. And this is a kind of one of the ways to do it by mentoring junior sailors. So we'll start off with at the top of our SOQ SOY scoring sheet, we have primary responsibilities, and I'm showing it to you on the screen right now. Uh, first wicket that we have is called depth of responsibility, aka job scope. Cross, tell me what you think depth of responsibility and job scope means.
this is like the core of your mission, whatever you have to do and whatever role you have. Right? Obviously, we're CTN, so we have a particular view. It's a very one sort of niche side of the Navy, but you could be a bosun mate, you could be a CS, you could be an MR, whatever it is, but it's your primary job. Like, are you good at just doing your day-to-day job? And are you the go-to person for that job, right? Have you taken the time to invest in your own skill set and leverage mentorship from people in your shop or whoever, right, to be like the best at what you do, whatever that is, right?
Exactly.
So that should be the core of any grading for like.
Exactly. So you're going to hear me referencing this training a number of times during this podcast, but I recently did a suicide prevention video. It's about 45 minutes, so go check that out. Cards up top. But one of the wickets that I talk about as far as suicide prevention, the second wicket is you need to become good at your job. You need to be good, at least good, at the thing that you do most in a month. This depth of responsibility, being good at your job, is pretty much essential not only to playing the game the right way in the Navy, because you don't want to be a one-trick pony. Job scope in my regard would just be being good at what I learned in A school, or once I get to my command, being good at the things that were in my JQR. And you take that responsibility on, you take it upon yourself to become good at that thing so that people can look to you as a mentor later on, so people can look to you as a leader, because when you become competent in something, then that's going to lead to confidence. And that confidence is going to help you out, because then you're going to accomplish more, and those accomplishments are going to lead to a more fulfilling life, a more fulfilling work life, a more fulfilling life in general. So step one, be good at your job. Now, did you want to add anything else to?
No, I think that covers it pretty well.
So volunteering for assuming additional job duties is the next wicket. And this means, along with your job, you're going to have things that you have to do on the side of your job. Add a few of those to your record, and it looks like you don't just only do that main job that you have. You do some other things to help out the team. And you always want to be helping out the team in any way you can. Cross, did you have anything to add to assuming additional job duties?
No, it's good. One of the critiques, you sort of alluded to it earlier, is that the debate between like pure mission and the collaterals, right? You hear that often with people that critique those that are sort of putting themselves in the arena, to use the Teddy Roosevelt quote, right?
Yep.
You got to imagine, take two sailors, right? They're both really good at their job, but one of them does extra stuff as well, and they're able to load balance that whole thing, right? They do their main job really well, same as the other person, but they're able to do additional jobs. That might be training, it might be oversight, it might be safety compliance, whatever it is, because the Navy is very broad, right? So if you're grading those two sailors, which one is better in your estimation? Probably the one that's able to do more, right? And the critique is that it takes away from mission, but that is not necessarily the case. I believe that's a cynical view, and there's definitely a way you can do all those things well, and as Ty mentioned, to do it in a way that's not putting other people down, but raising them up, really, right? If you're training people and you're a good trainer and you care about it and you're dedicated, that benefits everybody. Why not? That's great.
Right. Yeah. So volunteer for doing additional job duties just to help the team out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Next we have, and this is all part of the primary responsibilities, so your main job. Next is major command watch stations. So this is like assuming duties such as command simio. Simio is command managed equal opportunity. So taking up additional or a watch station like that, or becoming a command CFL, command fitness leader, or becoming your command's DAPA. DAPA is the drug and alcohol program advisor. So there are different command watch stations that. So your command is going to have a CO, or your command has a CO, and he has to make sure that all these programs are running effectively. When you lead one of these programs, or when you're an assistant lead to one of these programs, you are directly helping him. Not that you're not directly helping him in terms of doing your job, your primary job, but you directly help him because he's responsible for all of these programs in his command, such as the SAPR program, such as the SIMIO, such as ACFL, making sure people are passing their PRTs. So you want to assume one of these because not only does it give you visibility within your command, it gives you those wickets that you need to hit in order to continue to succeed in your career, because you're going to need those when it comes to making boards, putting packages in, showing that you're a well-rounded sailor. You have a plethora of skills that you've learned, because it takes confidence and it takes competence to be able to completely do these jobs effectively. So not only are you learning new things, you're building your resume, and you're becoming better as a result of playing the game. Command watch stations, additional job duties, doing your job right, doing your job well.
Can I do that? So just yeah, great point there too, right? Because it's more than just you being able to do your mission, but it's also the COs, your commands, your units, your fleets, the Navy's mission to have all these programs, right? DAPA, we want to have it because we want to prevent any kind of illness or injury from drug and alcohol, right? Or any kind of whatever mental health issues. UPC, want to make sure that people aren't using drugs, right? Simio, want to make sure that there's equal opportunity and command. So those are all great goals that are for the Navy. So you taking part of that is beneficial to the Navy as well. So it's just a different part of a mission.
Absolutely. All right, so we've covered primary responsibilities. We'll move on to your actual job performance. Okay, so job performance, a little vague, but this is more about, as long as you're doing the things in your job that you need to be doing, you're giving good output, you're giving good products, no one's going to complain. You're going to get full points on this, or you're going to get full credit for the work that you do.
May I add?
Yeah.
Just this one, to me, the way I think about it is when you think of those sailors in your shop and you think that sailor is just the go-to sailor for whatever I need, or for their main job, or for whatever you can rely on them for. They have tons of growth potential, great work output, great military experience, and initiative, right? You see that. And I think if you've been in the Navy, if you're watching this, you're probably in the Navy at this point with the video. But you know those sailors, right? That person is she or he is the go-to sailor for whatever I need, right? That's kind of how I think about this one.
Right. And yeah, so this one isn't really a wickets one. This one is basically, are you doing your job? Like, can people count on you? The last thing that it says here is initiative. That's one of the things that people are probably going to look at when they're determining whether or not you're producing. Are you, do people have to tell you what to do all the time? Do you have to be forced to do work, or do you take it upon yourself to say, hey, I'm responsible for my career. I'm responsible for what I'm knowledgeable on. Let me get things done. Let me do things the right way so that people don't have to ask me 20 times for a product. Okay, so let's move on to leadership. Leadership, we have on here, this is just an example. Department LPO, and this kind of goes for anyone E6 and below, because this doesn't really apply to you if you're a chief. Department LPO, Division LPO, Work Center Supervisor, it includes teamwork and communication. So all of these skills, teamwork and communication, are necessary to become a good leader, but those job titles, Department LPO, Division LPO, Leading Petty Officer, you want to take up those positions. It's okay if you don't have them. You can't. It can only be one. But you eventually want to elevate to the level where you're doing those types of things, because, for one, it's the toughest job. You want to do the toughest jobs that no one else wants to do. No one else wants to be a leader. No one else wants to stand up in front of everyone and be the one being judged for all the decisions that you're making. And everyone would rather sit back, relax, and complain about everything. So if you're the type of person that that I want to instill in you. I want to instill the um, that will to actually stand up in front of a group and lead them. If you're that type of person, you want these types of positions. Department LPO, Division LPO. Not only does it look good on paper, but it shows career progression because eventually you are going to be asked to lead at every level in the military. You're going to be asked to lead. You might as well get used to it. Don't shy away from it. And at every rank that you achieve, you're expected to perform at that rank.
Yeah, just to throw a little bit of a humanities reference in here, but Plato in the Republic, one of his most famous dialogues, had this quote that the price you pay for failing to participate in politics is to be ruled by your inferiors. And the reason I bring that up is like it's easy to just sit back and critique the LPO, like, oh, they don't know what they're doing, they don't do it right. Like, okay, well, can you put yourself in a position where you demonstrate leadership and then you become the LPO and then you show people how best to do it, right? Wouldn't that be the best way to win? Because not only is that person who may or may not be incompetent, they're out of the picture, right? But you are asserting your own view of how things should work and hopefully you're doing it better, right? That's the responsibility piece of it, right? This is what it's speaking to. It's not about collecting those positions because you want those positions, right? One of the critiques from some of the people that maybe criticize this is the joke is that it's like Thanos collecting collaterals or collecting positions. They want to use to rule the world.
Stones, infinity rings.
There's a way this could be done in a petty or kind of gross or toxic way. But we're not talking about that, obviously. Hopefully you all get that view, right? This is a way for you to take leadership, you to take more responsibility for whatever scope it is. It might just be your work center, right? It might be your whole shop, it might be your department, whatever it is, but hopefully you're putting yourself in that position so you can run it the way you think best, and then now you're the person in the center of the arena.
Exactly. And I agree with everything that Cross just said, because ideally, in order to get full points, playing the game, right? Points. In order to get full points in this section, you want to actually be doing Division LPO, Department LPO, and you kind of still want to be that work center supervisor or mission lead or something in that area. You could get full points without being a mission lead, but you have to be versatile in your skill set. So you have to know how to lead sailors administratively and mission wise. And in order to do that, you have to have experience with both. So you might as well get it out of the way. And you can fail fast. You can learn quickly what works. I would say failing at a job, it doesn't mean that it's not for you. It just means that at that time you need to learn a little bit more, because I think I've failed in the past at things, and moving forward, I've now learned what can work and what will work and what definitely doesn't work. Everything isn't always your fault, but you're going to be judged as if it is your fault. So remember that. You just got to take that on the chin. Did you have anything else to say about leadership? I know that's like one of the biggest things I care about on here.
No, I think you got it. The last two minor things just says like teamwork and communication, right? That just means that you're verbal and you're thinking beyond yourself. You're thinking, okay, who above and below me in my chain and my center needs to know about what, and am I an effective communicator, and am I displaying good qualities of teamwork, right? Making sure everyone's involved and giving credit where credit's due to everyone else and that kind of thing.
And so Cross brought up humanities. Here's one thing that they don't have on here. You're going to succeed whether you do this or not. But here's one thing that they don't have on here. As far as communication and teamwork, you still want to be a decent human being at the end of the day. Like, people are looking up to you in these positions. Make sure that you're somebody worth looking up to. Make sure that you're an ideal candidate for what a junior sailor would aspire to be once they're in your position. If you can attack your job with that type of zeal, then you're going to be fine. What I don't want to see is people meeting all these wickets, and they're, for lack of a better term, they're trash human beings. Be a good person at the end of the day, all right? And what does being a good person mean? It means at the end of the day, you have to take care of your sailors. You have people under you that you have to take care of. Do your job, take care of them, all right?
I think that feeds into this next bullet too, right? Command climate salarization. Can I go through them, do you mind? So training, mentoring, qualifying, advancing, retaining, equal opportunity, camaraderie, and esprit de corps. So a lot of those play into right what Ty was saying, right? Are we training our relief, right? Are we training them so that they know more than we did when we walked into our shop, right? And so they're better prepared to fulfill the mission and with some of these training videos types, right? Like learning more the extra dimension of leadership and what it means to be a sailor, a quality sailor, right? Mentoring, that the one-on-ones, it doesn't have to be official, it can be unofficial, just talking to the junior sailors or even peers, and like pull them aside if you need to have a talk, whatever it is, or just this is a mentoring session of a larger scope, right? Like these are tools you can use to succeed in the Navy and as a person. Qualifying, of course, any qualification you have for work or for extra collaterals, um, command duties, those are all, it's above and beyond your regular, what we've already talked about, your mission and your job performance, but it's training your relief in a different way, right? Whether it's CRTT, like on a ship, and you need to like pass those qualifications, or INSERV, or any of those
CRTT is Command Readiness
Training Team,
yes.
Absolutely. So advancing, same thing. Advancement and rate trainings, right? On my channel, you'll see, well, we can link it. I have some resources for how to pass the advancement exam, just how to study, how to look at the resources and the bibs, and how to focus for the test, right? Those are all attainable goals for most people, regardless of even evals, right? You can overcome that with good tests, or how to get better evals. Retaining, I think that one's tricky, because that's more like, how do you create a climate of health and morale
and I think
command?
This is part of being like just a decent person. Like a lot of people, they're so affected by their leadership. If their leadership are terrible people, then they're less likely to stay in the military. I think leadership plays a huge role in people's want to stay.
Sure. Yeah, I think we probably both have examples of good leaders we've had in the past that maybe have inspired us. Maybe we're on the fence, or I'm sure many sailors have the same experience where they're on the fence, but they look back to that example, kind of getting back to what you mentioned before, that example sailor, like, you know what, I want to be like this person. I want to be like her or like him. And just those inspiring examples that they make you want to come to work, right? They make it enjoyable, or they at least make it feel like you're accomplishing something, whatever that is.
And in regards to training, being one-on-one with your sailors or in a group, that's why it's so important to be good at your job, right? Be good administratively wise, and this is why that leadership comes in, where you got to be LPO so you can learn administrative things, and be a mission supervisor so you know how mission's supposed to work. Training individuals, that's going to go in here, but say this is written on your brag sheet. You want to have trained 20 individuals on how to work something, right? As far as mentoring, it's hard to quantify this on a brag sheet. Actually, a really good way to quantify this on a brag sheet is doing something like this. But this isn't for a brag sheet, right? For me, Cross can put it on his, because I'm leaving the command. And none of this matters for me. My eval is already done. But qualifying, this is going to happen kind of whether you do anything about it or not, but you want to have a hand in it, which means sometimes your sailors are going to come in, they're going to hit the ground running, they're going to qualify in their job, or qualify in their warfare pin anyway, but you can instill that want to do it. You can kind of push those guys into doing it. Advancing, this another thing, it's going to happen whether you do anything about it or not. As a leader, people are going to advance. Well, at least in our community, people advance pretty quickly. Retaining, be a good person, as I mentioned earlier. Equal opportunity, you kind of have to make sure that you're abiding by the Navy core values: honor, courage, and commitment. Because at the end of the day, as long as you're cultivating an environment that lives by those three wickets, you're going to be good as far as EO goes. Don't have any EO complaints against you. Just make sure that you're treating everyone fairly. And as far as camaraderie, plan division outings or department outings or
MWR events.
Get involved in MWR. You have to be involved in kind of every aspect of life, and you have to take it upon yourself. Don't just say, I'm going to come to work and not do anything else. Come to work, and then because the Navy is your career and your life and part of your life, one of the things I talk about in that suicide prevention video is, first of all, like the video and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Second of all, make sure you check the description for Cross's channel. But about the camaraderie, one of the things I talk about in the suicide prevention video is how important socialization is to you. It is important from a mental health perspective, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about because we have a need to socialize with one another. And when we're doing that, we're feeling fulfilled in life. So you can't just come to work, be good at your job, be a leader, and then be fulfilled. You kind of have to branch out and learn those skills about socialization that are necessary in order to be able to speak to everyone. Um, yeah. Anything else to add to that one,
No, I
Ross?
don't think so. No, esprit de corps, if I may, the way I think about it is sort of military bearing and just honor and pride in service, right?
Right.
And when you go out to eat at lunch or something, and you look great in your uniform, right? That's a phenomenal way to have just a spirit of your own service, right? Bringing other people into that mix with you, right? Bringing them along, and just showing pride, right? Being a proud sailor, and getting you back to that idea of being the example of a U.S. Navy sailor.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, meritorious achievements. So we have awards such as the Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal or higher, the NAM, the Navy Achievement Medal, the FLOC, the Flag Letter of Commendation, and in previous Sail of the Quarter wins, which you get FLOCs for, and then those different awards are worth certain point values. So the Navy Com is going to be worth 4 points. The NAM is going to be worth 3 points. MOVSM, the Military Outstanding Volunteer Service Medal, is going to be worth 2 points. Blocks are worth 2 points. And in current fiscal year, Sail of the Quarter selection is 2 points, as well as a letter of appreciation and a coin are worth 1 point. An easy way to add to this list, if you're because you usually only get NAMs for end of tours, the award that you get for successfully completing a tour, admirably, right? You're not promised a NAM, but you'll get it if you're doing everything the right way. Uh, if you're getting coins like a Chiefs coin or a coin from an admiral, you do a brief and you get a coin from a general. Add these to your tallies. These count. So make sure you're adding these. And since since Cross is actually one of the most accomplished sailors that I've seen, I'll let him speak more to these awards. But
Sure. Well, it's all just it's useful to keep in mind that this is just for the quarter or the year within which you're competing, right? And it's pretty binary. Like you're going to have it or you're not going to have it, right? One useful thing, though, if you won one of the quarters and you're going in for the year, that's going to play into your favor, right? Because you're going to win 2 points, at least based on this scoring, 2 points for being a current SOQ, and then another 1 point for that flock, that fleet leader accommodation. The MOVSM is a voluntary one. That's just basically what you're going to do in your off hours time. I would want to pitch for it and just put a little plug in for it because I think it is a great award. It's a way the Navy can recognize that you as a sailor are going out of your way to have an impact in your community, and hopefully you're just being honest about it, right? You're not making up numbers, right? But it's a way that you benefit, right? I mean, you're benefiting because you're volunteering. You're benefiting because you're helping others. And then the Navy's saying, hey, we also want to volunteer. The fact that our Navy, we can incentivize the Navy being out there in the community and helping out the way they can, right? So that's one voluntary thing you can consider.
right, yeah. So we've touched on meritorious achievements. Um, it's just getting awards, adding them to your resume, and these are going to be useful later on in your career when you're being judged for, say, Sailor of the Years or advancing in rank. A lot of good comes of earning these meritorious achievements. So next we have collateral duties, and we have command collaterals, department collaterals, and divisional collaterals. So I would recommend sailors to diversify their skill set by taking on collateral duties, so that eventually, when you're in positions of leadership, such as a chief, and you're kind of responsible for the collateral duties within your division or within your department, you know how they operate and you know how to run them effectively. And at the command level, uh, you know, if you're making your bosses look good, that's going to make you look good. So run your collateral duties with keeping that in mind. It's selfish. It's selfish in and of itself, but you're doing it for someone else. You're making your boss look good. If you come at it with that from that perspective, you'll probably do a better job at it and care more about it. Anything that and also, if there are collateral duties that you genuinely care about, such as SAPR, VA, or sexual assault prevention and response victim advocate, or suicide prevention, if those are things that you actually really care about, I recommend doing those things because then it feels less like work. So in your off time when you have to dedicate time to doing it, you know, you may not necessarily feel burnt out by doing those collateral duties because these are things that you would naturally do anyway, such as, you know, as a suicide prevention uh, advocate, I made that suicide prevention training. That didn't feel like work to me. I didn't feel burnt out making that, even though it's 45 minutes long. So, taking on collateral duties that you enjoy is a way to kind of optimize towards building your resume, but also, you know, um, building fulfillment in your life as well.
Great points. I just add one little thing just to make sure you're not doing too much, right? Because especially when it comes to like chief boards and everything, right? They're looking at, did you have one command collateral during that period? Some people, again, make the joke, have the Thanos view. I want to collect every command collateral. Maybe that's your impetus. I don't want to dissuade you if that is. If you feel strongly about suicide and simi or whatever it is, and you genuinely want those programs, but in terms of scoring and just balance overall, you don't want to take on too much, right? And there's a point of diminishing returns, right? You do
Right.
one command collateral, that's good. One department, great. You're doing fine.
Yeah, because if you take on too many collaterals, you might not actually do them effectively. Someone else might have been better off doing it.
Absolutely.
So next we have educational accomplishments. So educational accomplishments just includes earning master's degrees, bachelor's degrees, associate's degrees, NECs, um, certs, U.S. map completions, college credits, uh, NKO viewport courses, multiple, uh, yeah, CLEPs, which are courses that you can take in place of actually taking a college course, so you can still get the credit for it. If you have an issue with, you know, doing things on your off time, such as educational accomplishments, I would, I would advise you to pick the lowest hanging fruit. What can you do to put some points on the table for this section? You could do some NKO courses. You could do some easy viewports. You know, just put your foot in the door. Put your foot in the door of someone that's trying to succeed, uh, education wise, and you're going to be good to go. You know, this isn't the biggest section on the sheet for a reason, right? Because it's asking a lot of you to go out and get your education. So the people that do it, you know, we're going to give them points for it, but it's not a lot of points because that is a lot to ask for people. Like people can get burnt out. You know, going to school takes a lot of time. So, um,
May I add?
yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead, Chris.
So just if you're not the college type or that's not a goal for you right now, that's fine. Okay, we don't want to push that. But there's other options. Multiple non-mandatory NKO courses. That's an option. You can Google that. Some of those examples for that. PMEs. A lot of people don't know. It's called Professional Military Education. It's on e-learning. The E4 and below level is called the IE PME. That's Introductory Enlisted Professional Military Education. The E5 is B for Basic Professional Military Education. E6 is PPME for Professional. And there's ones for chiefs and above on the JKO site, which you can do JEPME 1 and 2 later when you make chief. That's a cool option. You learn about the Navy, you learn some Navy history, naval tradition, some processes and some organizational charts. So you're increasing your Navy knowledge. It's kind of whenever you want to do it on your own time. It's free. You don't need to register. You don't need TA. There's also the Navy Community College is a good option. I have done a separate video on Navy College, which we break down a lot of the options for you. You're welcome to look at that. And the other one I'll plug real quick is NECs. So if you have an NEC for your job, obviously you should be getting that for your work qualification. But there are other ones, like if you're an ACFL and you go to the CFL course and get that CFL NEC, that not only opens up Navy cool options for personal training certifications, if that's what you want to do. And if you do that, then you also get points for that cert. So that's kind of cool to think about. Or if you're like CTs, we have a lot of technical certs we can do. They don't cost us anything. It just costs our own study time. We don't need to write papers for a college course, but we're still going to get points. We're still going to get a cert, which is helping us professionally, and we're getting points for this thing. So win-win-win, depending on your goals, right? There's other options beyond just college. College is great. It helps this, helps your own professional. It helps, hopefully, you learn something in the process of getting a bachelor's degree. So that was pretty simple.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So next we have peer group and community service. So in the Navy we have committees such as MWR or your First Class Petty Officer Association or your enlisted associations or CSAD, uh, if you if, if you care about community service and peer group involvement, try to make sure that you're participating in these groups and that you're trying to take on those leadership positions within the groups, because that's going to be more points in this section, and it's also going to be good for leading your peers, uh, showing that experience of it. We have participation in civic and community affairs as well. So getting involved in your community. Um, there's yeah, so there's always opportunities to like be involved in a church, for instance.
Hmm.
Just seek out those opportunities if you want to, you know, give back to the community during your off time, or lead your peer group, or just become a member of your peer group. This section isn't huge. It's just another opportunity to um, add to that socialization, that sailorization, the leading of peers, and having an impact on your command as a whole.
And I would add that you don't necessarily need a leadership position to lead to take leadership in one of those roles, right? If you have an idea for the MWR or the FCPOA or the EA, whatever it is, right? You can propose it and you can take responsibility for it and just try and follow it through as best you can, right? And then it also plays back into that command climate. Some of those bullets for camaraderie and esprit de corps, right? If your command sees, oh, hey, Ty, CTN1 did this great thing for whatever community event, or got Easter egg hunt for the kids, for whatever it is, right? You're showing that camaraderie, that esprit de corps. You're taking time, volunteering your time and effort to make things better, improve morale, improve that work-life balance, hopefully to some degree, right?
Yeah.
Those are all positives, and those are things that the Navy should be rewarding.
Right. And then last but not least, we have physical readiness. So we're in the military. You got to be ready to go. You have to be in good physical condition. Um, One of the things I would recommend. Oh, also, I think with the addition of doing planks for our PRTs, I think it's actually become easier to score higher on your PRTs. So, an easy way to get good PRT scores is do push-ups every night. Do push-ups when you wake up. Now, this may sound like a lot, but I would do 100 push-ups when I wake up, 100 push-ups before I go to sleep. That's 200 push-ups a day, and it doesn't really take me that long to do those push-ups. It takes me about 4 minutes to do 5 sets of 20. So in 10 minutes, I did 100 push-ups, and in a week's time, 7 days in a week, I've done 1,400 push-ups. I can only max out my push-ups on the PRT, and then for planks, the same thing. You have to hold a 3 minute and
Change.
and some change second plank. Just practice your planks every night or practice your planks every morning, and you should be good to go. Don't really even like. It's pretty easy. And then for the run or the row or the bike or the treadmill, just working your cardio. You got anything to add to that?
My next video on my channel, I have to keep plugging it away, but it is going to be on
Make sure you like and subscribe, by the way.
how to improve your PRT score overall, some strategies. I like the max relax model, but I have some tips on the treadmill and the bike as well. Just some sample plans.
Yeah, and that actually brings us to the end of this whole list. If there's anything that we didn't cover, we can cover in a future episode. But this has been episode 2 of the Noble Credit Podcast and Cross's podcast. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section. I'll be sure to answer them. And yeah, this is us signing out. You got any last words for these guys?
No, thank you so much for having me, and I hope this inspires you or gives you some kinds of tips for how, if you want to play the game, how to do it right, and how it's not some cynical game of you just trying to advance yourself, but there's an optimistic way if you view it where you're bringing other sailors with you, you're helping lift everybody up, right? You're improving your command, you're doing your job well, you're helping train your relief, right? You're improving your own self, education, volunteering, all of those things. There's a very optimistic way to view this whole process, and I would encourage you, if you're going to do it that way. And,
yeah. And I would also encourage you to, there's a work-life balance. You obviously don't want to be going 100% all the time because it's going to be bad for you physically, but just remember, you are going to be judged for your performance, for your output. So manage your own expectation, do what's comfortable for you, but at the same time, get yourself out of your comfort zone. I know that's, kind of a conflicting statement, but manage that and take breaks when needed. But overall, we need more people that are going hard at their jobs, becoming the best that they can be. Because I would rather have those people in the military than people who don't care about anything, who don't want to do their job, don't want to do any collaterals. I'd rather have the people that want to do their job, want to help others, want to be good sailors in general, are living by those core values. So this brings us to the end of this episode. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to be releasing another episode for the podcast this week. And yeah, this is us signing off. Peace.
Thank you.
Noble, 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 noble.